Hey, Sunsparkle.
Yeah.
Where did I come from?
Um, Gah,
I can help with that.
I don't know if that's a great idea.
Sure it is. All it takes is a little time travel.
A little what?
Ooh, is there gonna be a play? A fashion show?
Not quite. We're going to take a trip through history, back to the 1980s.
Whoa! Were there dinosaurs?
Not until around 1993. There was mostly just big hair and consumerism. And in 1981, illustrator Bonnie D. Zaccarel designed a brand new toy. My Pretty Pony. These charming horses were a full 10 inches tall, with wiggling ears and tail, and an eye that winks.
Wow, cool.
I'm glad you think so, because it didn't sell too well. So, when in doubt, make it smaller and more colorful. In 1982, Hasbro introduced My Little Pony, magical equines with images on their flanks and a twinkle in their eyes. Sometimes the twinkle was literal. The first generation started with 6 ponies: Cotton Candy, Bluebell, Butterscotch, Minty, Snuzzle, and Blossom. They also quickly introduced a variety of other models, including Pegasi, unicorns, and sea ponies. And then, of course, there was the cartoon.
A cartoon?
Well, really more of a glorified commercial. Most cartoons were back then, like Transformers, Pound Puppies, Care Bears, Littlest Pet Shop. The list goes on. In 1984, a 22-minute special, Rescue at Midnight Castle, was released, and television audiences were introduced to My Little Pony. There was also a movie released in theaters in 1986, and the show aired for the next year, with 65 episodes over 2 seasons.
But that's more episodes than there are weeks in a year.
Magic isn't worried about math, and Hasbro wasn't worried about the lackluster response to the show. They kept churning out the candy-colored ponies for the enjoyment of kids everywhere. These ponies included, but were not limited to, So Soft ponies, Flutter ponies, First Tooth baby ponies, Twice as Fancy ponies, Big Brother ponies, Merry-Go-Round ponies, Perfume Puff ponies, Tropical ponies, Rock and Beat ponies, Glow and Show ponies, Sip and Soda ponies, Teeny Tiny Baby ponies, and Prom Queen Sweetheart Sister ponies. By 1992, a full 10 years in, Generation 1 was winding down, and they returned to TV with a brand new show. My Little Pony Tales ran for 1 season of 26 episodes. The show focused on everyday stories befitting of any 90s kids show. Except, with ponies. Like slumber parties, tea parties, sick days, battles of the bands, the theatrical works of Shakespeare, jazzercise, everyday stuff.
Jazzercise?
I do like slumber parties.
But in 1994, the hype around My Little Pony had pretty much died down, and the brand disappeared for a few years. But you can't keep a good pony down. In 1997, Hasbro released a second generation of ponies.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, so funny story. The thinner, simpler ponies of Generation 2 didn't sell very well here in the States. Maybe the designs were less appealing, maybe the nostalgia market wasn't ripe yet. Who knows? Production ended in the US after only 1 year, and there weren't any cartoons made for them. But they were popular in Western Europe, where they were sold until 2003.
Je ne sais pas pourquoi les Américains ne m'aiment pas.
So, is that it?
I haven't seen any ponies that look like me yet.
Ah, good eye, little bit. We are far from done. Hey, Sparkles, tell me if you've heard this one before. In 2003, Hasbro tried again with a third generation of My Little Ponies. These new designs trended back towards the chunkier style of Generation 1, and that wasn't the only throwback to the start of the franchise. New cartoon specials were made. Sold in box sets with the ponies, these leaned towards the slice-of-life elements of My Little Pony tales, centering around stories about birthdays and dances. However, magic was still a very real feature in this world, especially once Pegasi and unicorns were finally introduced in 2006. There weren't any more midnight castles or nasty villains, but all color being drained from the world is still fairly high magical stakes. There was another shift in style around 2009, when the ponies were made smaller, bigger-headed, and more childish. This has been labeled Generation 3.5 since this line centered around a pared-down selection of pre-existing Gen 3 ponies and their designs. They also made new cartoons, mostly Flash-animated web-exclusive fare that featured these more childish ponies dealing with things like sharing with little sisters or holding tea parties. However, though there have been major changes in style for both the ponies and cartoons, there has not been a notable lull in My Little Pony production since Gen 3 started in 2003. Nonetheless, after 7 years, the franchise shifted into Generation 4. In 2010, Generation 4 began, using a smaller, cuter style that was reminiscent of those used in Generation 3.5, though they weren't quite as top-heavy. The toys were released alongside a brand new TV show, My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. See, Hasbro had just teamed up with the Discovery Channel to make a new TV channel, The Hub. The Hub aired shiny new reboots of all those glorified advertisements from the 80s, including Transformers, Pound Puppies, Care Bears, and Littlest Pet Shop. To helm the new My Little Pony show, The Hub pulled in Lauren Faust, an animator and writer who has worked on The Iron Giant, The Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Super Best Friends Forever, and Wander Over Yonder. But perhaps the most important qualification Faust brought to the show was a love of the ponies. Faust had grown up with the first generation, creating her own stories with ponies like Firefly, Applejack, and Twilight. With all of her experience, she and her team brought a creativity and commitment to the table that made Friendship is Magic one of the forerunners of a new generation of critically acclaimed cartoons. Friendship is Magic reinvigorated a decades-old infomercial into a fun, magical show that handled both mundane and fantastical events, and, perhaps most importantly, presented a variety of characters with personalities broader than has an interest that's socially acceptable for girls. The quality of the show pulled in a wide and dedicated fan base, for better or worse. And this is where you come in, Peanut.
Me?
Yeah, you're from Generation 4. You came from over 30 years of a well-loved toy line and a super popular TV show, fueled by the imaginations and enthusiasm of women and girls. But this story isn't over yet. Friendship is Magic ended in 2019 after nearly a decade on air, and now My Little Pony is moving into the new ground of Generation 5. The designs are an even more stylized variation on Gen 4, and new shorts are being posted online. So there you go. That's where you came from.
But where do babies come from?
Well, you see, when an illustrator and a toy company love each other very much,